Spoiler alert. The following will contain spoilers for WandaVision. Double your vision, double your fun. It's the... my bad. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, E-Man, from E-Man's Movie Reviews. I didn't even see y'all there. I'm sorry. Hey, did y'all see the last episode of WandaVision? Wasn't that just a great looking episode? You know, look, let me stop playing with y'all. Y'all already know what's going on in this. Okay, we're gonna get to that. Look, first of all, let me just say, this had to have been the best acting I've seen in a Marvel property, in a comic book property at all. Give Elizabeth Olsen all the award. My goodness, this woman put it out. She out here acting. I don't want to hear nothing else about comic book movies or TV shows not requiring good acting. Nah, she done raised the bar. But look, we got so much stuff to talk about. Let's hurry up and break this down and explain everything. We start off in 1693, Salem, Massachusetts. Now, initially, this would appear as though it was a typical witch burning by the residents of the town. However, it was actually Agatha Harkness who's on trial by other witches in her own coven. They begin to restrain her with their magic, but that does not last long as Agatha appears to overpower them and break free, killing all of the remaining witches, including her own mother. Okay, so there are a couple of things to pay attention to here. We first start off with Agatha begging for her, innocence, saying that she didn't do it, only to confess later on that, she did do it. So she's basically a seasoned liar. Then we discover that she's been practicing dark magic. So whatever she stole had to be some real seriously bad stuff. Maybe it was the book that was in her basement. As I've said before, maybe this book is the Darkhold, but maybe it's not. It doesn't look like the Darkhold from the other Marvel series, so I'm not going to assume that it is the same thing. Others have said that this book might be the missing one from Doctor Strange's library too. Now, I personally would like to believe that this book is something entirely different. I really don't like the idea of confining everything to just only what we know. I love when Marvel introduces new things to kind of expand the universe. Maybe this is, Agatha's own spell book. Maybe it's something else from a different, realm of magic that we haven't known yet. But either way, it's clearly something so bad that Agatha had to be punished for it. I mean, let's really think about this here. If witches gotta come bring you to the stake to get rid of you, you really done messed up. Especially if your own mother is leading that prosecution. Now, I don't know if that was Agatha's actual mother or if it's just the label of the head witch in charge. But can we talk about the fact that witches exist in the MCU? We now know that there are others out there with different types of power and different types of magic, and they all don't have to come directly from Doctor Strange's immediate background. I think this is really a nice new wrinkle in the MCU. As for what happened with Agatha here, we see that while the other witches were trying to restrain her with their blue magic, she ended up absorbing their magic instead. As a result, she left their bodies lifeless and apparently completely drained. Now, I believe that this fits right into my previous theory about Agnes's true hidden agenda. I said that I believe that she was secretly trying to steal Wanda's power or her magic all this time. I also pointed out in the shark commercial how Agatha was the shark and Wanda was the boy, and if you notice, the boy is left as a skeleton similar to those witches who had their power absorbed. This stealing of magic could be exactly how Agatha has been able to survive since 1693 and probably longer before that. One last thing, if you notice, the mother's crown appeared on her head right before she died. Now this might look very similar to the same headpiece that Scarlet Witch wears, but I think that is something that we'll have to wait for the show to explain to us at a later time. So what I'm really liking about this is it appears that this witch coven They have a deeper mythology that has yet to be explored in the MCU, and I really can't wait until we dig a little bit deeper and, just learn how do they function, what are their histories, and what is their tie in relationship to magic. We're back with Wanda, and Wanda can't read Agatha's mind because the basement is protected with magical protection spells that only allow the caster's magic to be in effect. Agatha confesses that Pietro was a crystalline possession serving as her eyes and ears. She also continues to question Wanda about how she was able to pull off such a complex magical feat to control an entire town, or magic on autopilot as she puts it. So right now, Agatha really doesn't know who Wanda is at this point. That lets us know that when it was revealed to us, that it was Agatha all along, she really did enter into the equation during episode 1. As she said, she was attracted by the afterglow of the spells that Wanda cast, probably during that big surge of energy that we'll later see in the episode. As for fake Pietro, or Fietro, this makes sense that he was Agatha's creation. She couldn't use the real Pietro because his body is all the way back in Sokovia from Age of Ultron. So she used another person's body instead. Wanda was so traumatized in her fantasy world that she just went along with it. And this also makes more sense of like the previous scenes with Pietro, because he was asking Wanda questions about her magic in a similar way that Agatha was also trying to do throughout this episode. So this confirms that this Pietro is not a mutant and is not from the multiverse. And this is yet again one of the main reasons why I say we have to pump our brakes and wait until the show and movies actually confirm things for us instead of jumping to conclusions. Because I know a lot of people, like just a couple weeks ago, was like, oh, we in the multiverse. Oh, we got the X-Men. It's all confirmed. We here now. No, we not. Like, just wait. Because I was saying that, this also could be Marvel just trying to pull a fast one and trying to be funny. They do this stuff to us, Remember what they did to us in Iron Man 3, with the whole Mandarin and everything? We thought we was going to get the magic and all that stuff, and then they was like, we was just playing. So it turns out we're not getting the X-Men crossover that we all hope for, but I still trust Marvel that eventually we will get there. Agatha creates a magic portal to help Wanda go through her memories to discover her secrets. The very first memory we explore is Wanda's childhood with her family having a TV movie night. We see that despite the warfare going on outside, the family would still watch sitcoms like I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke, Malcolm in the Middle, and others. That is, until a bomb goes off destroying her family's home. A Stark Industries bomb lands right in front of Wanda and Pietro, just waiting to go off. However, a young Wanda stretches out her hand, and miraculously, the bomb does not go off for 2 days. As the memory ends, Agatha theorizes that Wanda actually used a probability hex spell to keep that bomb from going off. One thing I really liked about this is how this memory trip is very similar to how the Skrulls were probing Captain Marvel's memories. I think this is an excellent connection to what both Doctor Strange and Thor have talked about in the MCU, in terms of how science and magic are really the same thing to some degree. Well, as many have suspected, the TV sitcoms have clearly played a part in both Wanda's childhood, and that's what has, influenced her reality in this whole hex. I mean, this was clearly her happy place, and that's why her reality warping abilities try to recreate that for her to avoid dealing with her trauma. Now, as for the bomb that was about to go off, Agatha said something very important here. Not only did she recognize that Wanda cast a hex probability spell that prevented the bomb from going off, but she also called Wanda a baby witch. As I said before, it would appear as though the MCU is trying to classify witches as probably a different category here. So, as of right now, Wanda is a witch. She ain't a mutant. We don't know that yet. Don't let these other YouTubers gas you up with stuff yet. I mean, look, other people have powers and they're not mutants. We don't call Doctor Strange a mutant because he practices magic. So it is possible that maybe you have other people that might have an affinity for magic, but again, might not be mutants. So Wanda might have natural abilities that have nothing to do with the X gene. So just like Fietro, I'm just going to say again, let's pump the brakes. And before any fellow comic heads try to come at me about this, I'm saying to pump the brakes because Marvel has flip-flopped on so many things when it comes to Wanda in the comics. First, she and Pietro were mutants, and then they were Magneto's kids. Then they changed all of that and said that they were not his kids and that they didn't get their powers from the X gene. And this is on Marvel's own website. So if you got any issue with this, take that up with Marvel. Go argue with them. All I'm saying is that I'm just going to wait for the MCU to make up their own mind, pick what they want from the comics. Maybe she's a mutant, maybe she's a witch, whatever. Make up your mind and tell us. I'm going to let them tell us their own story. So if you say that Wanda's a witch, fine. She's a witch until further notice. On to the next memory. Wanda visits the Hydra lab where they were conducting the experiments with Loki's scepter, aka the Mind Stone. The Hydra scientists confirm that so far, no one has survived touching the scepter. As Wanda approaches, the stone floats towards her. The stone's casing shatters and the Mind Stone appears. Wanda sees an image of a figure wearing a headpiece and then she collapses. While in her cell, the scientists play the video footage, but it appears edited, leaving out the Mind Stone experience. Wow, okay, so there are a couple of things to take notice here because this whole scene is a mess. Wanda's experience with the Mind Stone is an interesting one because a couple of different things could be at play here. Initially, I thought that this was all a hallucination in her mind, because it has to do with the Mind Stone. The main reason why I thought this was all in Wanda's mind was because at this point in time, we didn't know that the Mind Stone was actually yellow. Remember, in Age of Ultron, it was still blue in the blue casing in Loki's scepter. So the fact that it exposed itself seemed more like an illusion of sorts. Not to mention, you also had that glowing figure that Wanda saw come forth, almost kind of like the Phoenix from the X-Men movies. Well, sorry to disappoint, that was not the Phoenix Force. But thanks to some graphic artists on Twitter messing around with the contrast revealed that was actually Wanda wearing a crown of some sort. Actually, it looked like a reformed version of her comic book outfit. Upon a closer look, we may even have gotten a sneak peek at Wanda's future costume. And it does look interestingly familiar. So it is possible that maybe the Mind Stone might have given Wanda a glimpse into the future, no different than how Wanda, when she would use her powers, kind of gave people like these illusions and stuff that were also calls to the future. Agatha also makes a comment saying that the Infinity Stone amplified what would have died on the vine. Now, the reason why I think what Agatha just said there was more important than you might realize is because I think what it's doing is hinting at the fact that witches' powers are not unlimited or infinite. Meaning that whatever powers Wanda had as a baby witch, those powers may have died off on the vine or become weaker without maybe getting that boost from the Infinity Stone. We did see earlier on that the powers of the witches can indeed have a limit because once that power is drained, they shrivel up and die. By the way, Agatha had an interesting choice of words by saying what would have died on the vine. Look, I've got a theory video that I'm working on to maybe explain that a little bit, so stay tuned. Now, the other interesting thing here is that the scientists were trying to figure out what happened, but couldn't see anything on the edited footage. Well, going back through that scene, it does appear as though the scientists did actually see everything that happened with the stone and Wanda. It's not like they were frozen in time or anything like that either. But the fact that they don't recall what happened gives me the impression that either the Mind Stone wiped their memories or maybe it was Wanda. We've seen Wanda exhibit power that she isn't aware of before. She's created a town, she's controlled the residents without being fully aware at times, she's even mind-wiped people outside of the Hex, like those police officers that she made forget that Westview even existed. We also saw Wanda editing footage that Sword was watching via the broadcast. So, like I said, this whole scene was a mess. It's really hard to pinpoint what exactly just happened here. Maybe it's a combination of mind wiping. Maybe there's some reality warping going on, for Wanda, but it's possible it's just happening on a very small scale. I don't know. If you have any ideas or any other interpretations of what went down in this scene, please let me know in the comments. We now move on to Wanda at Avengers headquarters, sometime between Age of Ultron and Civil War. Wanda expresses her grief to Vision, and we see him comforting her. Well, I think this scene shows us two important things. First thing is, she described these waves constantly hitting her, and I believe she was talking about the waves of depression and trauma with the loss of her loved ones. It was all just taking a real big toll on her to the point where she felt like it was going to drown her. This is very similar to what Monica Rambeau and Norm had said when they were describing their experiences of being under Wanda's mind control. Now, the second important thing to take away here is what Vision means to Wanda. First of all, my man said, what is grief if not love persevering? Bruh. Bars. This android is out here spitting. Woo! But more importantly, Vision served as her emotional anchor. As Agatha put it, he's what pulled her from the darkness. So in other words, when there's no Vision, Wanda's emotions and unchecked trauma will run amok. We jump to the final memory of Wanda visiting SWORD headquarters to demand the body of Vision. She enters Director Hayward's office. He shows her Vision's dissected body. He also informs Wanda that it's their obligation, ethically and legally, to keep Vision's body because of the amount of expensive vibranium his body is made out of, and because of the fact that he is a sentient weapon. So, as I've been discussing in previous breakdowns and videos, the moment SWORD changed their name and their focus to being sentient weapon instead of, world observation, that pretty much gave them the proper jurisdiction to lay claim to Vision's body. So I know some people were kind of asking, how was SWORD able to take Vision's body from Wakanda? Well, let me explain that real quick. Let's not forget that Wakanda has opened up to the world and that they've also joined the UN too. The Sokovia Accords is a law that the UN has also agreed to, if I'm not mistaken. So if SWORD operates in conjunction with the UN and the Sokovia Accords, that's probably the political and legal way for them to have ownership of Vision's body. Also keep in mind that Vision wasn't anyone's property because he was sentient, meaning he didn't belong to Stark Industries or Bruce Banner. However, once that sentience was gone, his lifeless body was a whole different situation. As we also know, he's made a will stating that he doesn't want his body to be used as a weapon, and that's also a provision in the Sokovia Accords. By the way, I need y'all to take a look at this. Did you notice that the texts were already repairing Vision's body, even though they were saying that they were dismantling him? Just look above the eyes. I mean, it really does look like they're trying to patch up the hole in his head. But hold up. There is something else we need to talk about, and it's with Hayward and his raggedy self, and it's just not sitting well with me. When Wanda said she wanted to bury Vision to have a funeral for him, Hayward said, "Are you sure? Not everyone has the kind of power that could bring their soulmate back online. Oh, I'm sorry, I mean back to life." Wanda said, "No, I can't do that." Sir, how do you know that she has that kind of power? Now, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe Hayward thought that using Mind Stone energy equals Mind Stone energy, and that's a great way to power up Vision. But he almost gave me the impression that he was someone who had knowledge of chaos magic. Remember when Wanda's kids said that she could fix the dead, and she said, "No, I can't do that"? Then you got Hayward saying the same thing, that you could bring Vision back online. And what did Wanda say? "No, I can't do that"? Look, Hayward the Duck is looking real sus right now. I'm just saying. My man is suspect. And by the way, I know some people are saying like, man, maybe Hayward works for Hydra and all that stuff. Look, unless Hydra made a comeback from some time or whatever, there is no Hydra. Hydra's already done, what was it? I want to say like after Captain America Winter Soldier, and then you had like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know how they want to retcon that or not, but Hydra's already been dismantled. They're gone. They're done. Anyway, during this flashback, we also see that while Wanda did break into the lab, she did not steal Vision's body. yo, she's not guilty. She didn't steal the body, but like I got to say, when she came up to Vision's body and, she was like trying to use her magic and stuff. And when she was like, I can't feel you. Oh my God. They've been building that up across all the movies, where Vision would say like, all I feel is you. And, they was always having a little love connection that way. When she said that, I was like, yo, I felt that. That was just, wait. Well, I'm sorry. That was a bad pun. No pun intended. Sorry. But y'all know what I mean. Like, yeah, that was a touching moment. Wanda gets into her car and drives to Westview, New Jersey. She drives through looking at all the residents of the town that she will later hold hostage in her magical reality. She pulls up to a lot of land and looks at the deed with the handwritten note from Vision. The emotional weight of the moment overcomes her, and she lets out a burst of magical energy which begins to build the home that could have been. Her powers continue to engulf the entire town, and she also produces a brand new Vision. Okay, so it looks like Wanda is the next of kin, and my guess here is that Vision may have listed her as such in his will sometime before Endgame. I'm also assuming that Vision went ahead and bought the house at the same time, for them to grow old in. But I gotta wonder, where did Vision get the money to buy a house? My man is out here like Tommy from Martin. You ain't got no job. Now, as for Wanda's emotional breakdown, this is something that was inevitable. Going back to Age of Ultron, it's almost been a mere depiction of what happened back then, except this time it's amplified much more. Actually, if you pay attention, remember when I talked about how Marvel will use colors to identify powers and abilities and things? Usually, Wanda's magic will be a scarlet red in color, but if you notice, when she's creating the hex, there's an increased amount of black colors in her magic. This is more than likely some of the chaos magic. Then you have her usually red magic converting into a yellow stream to create Vision. I think the simplest way to explain it is just the fact that, yeah, Wanda has Mind Stone energy, and her energy went into Vision because it was Mind Stone energy that was needed to bring him back to life. And of course, we know the Mind Stone is yellow, so maybe that's what Marvel was hinting at there with the red turning into yellow. But oh my gosh, that opens up a whole bunch of can of worms, because I mean, can she also create an Infinity Stone? I mean, we have to keep in mind the fact that what Wanda creates within the Hex is real. That's what Monica said, when she got kicked out of the Hex and was given her report. And matter of fact, while we're on the subject, that kind of ties into a question that I've seen a lot of people ask, which is how was Hayward able to track Vision within the Hex? Well, if it is true that what Wanda creates within the Hex is actually real, then she created Vision with real vibranium. And it was the vibranium that Hayward was tracking within the Hex. That's how he was able to follow Vision and see where he was going. Now, as for Wanda's emotional breakdown here, I think that what this shows is that, if it's not clear by now, this all came from Wanda. She may not know how her power works or, how to do certain things, but this whole thing with Westview, the whole Hex, all of it started with her. Which I suppose really raises the question, is Wanda the true villain here? Let me know what you think, because yeah, she's going through heartbreak and everything, but she's still holding an entire town hostage. I really want to know what the blowback on this is going to be. I mean, something tells me that, let's say Doctor Strange is involved, right? He might have to do like an entire mind wipe on the whole town. Otherwise, when all this stuff is said and done, how do you not throw Wanda in jail for all of this? I'm sorry, you can't just like undo this entire Hex and tell all these residents that have been tormented all this time, my bad, y'all. I was in my feelings and I had a bad day. Oops. But whatever, we need to talk about this created Vision. Now that we know that this Vision was created within the Hex, it certainly explains a couple of things. We now can understand why this Vision has no memory of anything before Westview. And that is because he was never real before Westview, so there's nothing for him to actually remember. However, after getting a recap from Darcy, it is possible that this might inform this Vision to make even bolder decisions in the next episode. As Wanda concludes the trip down memory lane and the TV sitcom illusion is gone, she races outside. She finds the Exorcist twins being held captive by Agatha with magical restraints around their necks. Agatha says that Wanda has no idea how dangerous she is, that Wanda is supposed to be a myth, and that she's a being capable of spontaneous creation. Agatha confirms that the entire reality and family Wanda created is all chaos magic, and thus it makes Wanda the Scarlet Witch. So one thing I really want everybody here to understand is that, the way this show is operating, in this instance, Agatha is supposed to be a means for us, the audience, to gain new insight and understanding. So what I mean is that when Agatha explains and discover things, this is really just Marvel's way for us to learn and understand things too. Listening to what Agatha said really gives us a lot to think about. She told Wanda that she has no idea how dangerous she is. And now I'm getting the impression that at first Agatha was just curious about Wanda, probably was licking her chops at her magic, wanted to steal it and everything. And then as she was going through memory lane with Wanda, she started to realize, oh, you a witch. You the big bad witch. You the whole Scarlet Witch. Yeah, I don't want none of this. You dangerous. I'm just saying, Agatha looked kind of spooked. Matter of fact, that's probably why she still got the kids held hostage, because that's probably protection for her. And I think what this could mean is that we could have an interesting twist here, right? This could actually make Agatha stop being the villain and maybe become a little bit more morally gray of a character. And what I mean by that is maybe Wanda is more dangerous than she believes. And maybe, Agatha realizes this and she's like, oh, I have to stop you, because if you really the Scarlet Witch and you mentally unstable like this, you could destroy the world. Also, look at this. Remember the black color in the magic Wanda had earlier? Well, it would appear that Agatha also shares that too. When her magic is usually violet, you can see that there's still some black in hers, meaning that she too is familiar with the chaos magic and the dark arts. Now, Agatha also said that Wanda was some sort of mythical being that was capable of spontaneous creation. And this is yet another reason why I'm very hesitant to label Wanda as a mutant, only because to say that she's like a mythical being kind of gives me the impression that this is very, very specific. And I don't think that it's going to fit the category of mutants, because mutants are various in their, powers and in their, being and all that. And I just don't think that this fits the description of a mutant. Agatha's claim is very, very specific, and apparently there's an entire lore about this too. She called her the Scarlet Witch, which could be a mantle, or maybe it's a call to the comics where Wanda could actually be a Nexus being. Now, for those of you who don't know, Nexus beings in the comics, these are beings that have a ridiculous amount of power. They can alter and change probability. And what that means is they basically can mess with time, in a certain sense. They also are central cornerstones to the multiverse. They are very important players when it comes to the multiverse, in other words. And they also have the potential of having very powerful children. And you know what? If that is the case, and if, Scarlet Witch, because she is a Nexus being in the comics, and this could be an interesting hint as to why she's going to be so vital to joining Doctor Strange, as he goes through the multiverse of madness. Now, again, and I'm going to say this for the people in the back, it is possible to be a Nexus being and a mutant. Maybe she's a Nexus being, maybe she's a mutant, maybe she's a witch, maybe she's all three. I cannot implore enough. Let the MCU tell us the story. And the reason why I'm harping on this is because I'm seeing so many comments, because I read y'all comments online. I'm seeing so many people talk about how they're already disappointed. Look, I want us to enjoy all of this stuff as much as possible. And what I'm trying to warn people about is don't create your own expectation, because the moment you set it this high, when it doesn't turn out the way that you want, your disappointment is going to be even deeper. Look, Marvel knows that we want mutants. I'm thirsty for mutants. You thirsty for mutants. Kevin Feige is thirsty for mutants. He been waiting. Hey, they teased mutants in Iron Man, and it was a deleted scene. Think about that. So they know what we want. Trust Marvel. They got this. During the mid-credits scene at Sword's base, they are now ready to launch. Hayward enters in and says that from the many failed attempts, all they needed was the energy from the original source to finally power up the Vision. Well, what do we have here? Is that the double vision? No, that ain't the double vision. Hold on, let me take a double look at that. That's the double vision. Boy, that made me do a double take. Oh, the double vision is back. It is verified, folks. First off, I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm not petty like that. But I will say I told you so to all the haters out there that said I was crazy. Yeah, I read them comments online. Yeah, I saw that. You ain't had no humility back then. But it's all good. And you know why? Because I do these theories for fun. No, I don't care if I'm right or wrong about these things. It doesn't matter. The thing that matters is that we all have fun theorizing and having these fun ideas about this stuff. So as long as y'all are entertained, that's all that matters to me. But if you happen to see one of them big outlets out there trying to steal credit for the double vision theory, y'all let them know you heard it from E-Man's movie reviews first. They be trying to be slick talking about, well, according to the internet, you know, the rumor theory is, ain't no internet. It's me, E-Man. But lo and behold, look at Sword with they lying selves, and they gonna bring Vision back online. And, of course, if you've been following my breakdowns, you already know I've been pointing out all these little signs that Sword are a bunch of liars and that they are clearly in violation of the Sokovia Accords by bringing Vision back online. Oh, and by the way, we had a great time during the live chat the other day, the reaction video where I reacted to the big reveal with Double Vision, so you can definitely go check that out if you like. Anyway, this brand new white Vision is the old Vision. This is drawing from the comics in the West Coast Avengers story. I believe it was called Vision Quest if you're interested. And I'll see if I can find a link to an explanation to the comic for you all. Basically, in the comic, Vision was dismantled, as we've seen in WandaVision, and he was brought back online, and he came back all white, and was void of any emotions. So my guess here is that what we see with this Vision, he's going to be all business, very logical, very robotic, and no emotion at all. Now, this is going to be very interesting to see this Vision interact with Wanda for the very first time. Because odds are he might actually recognize her, but ain't going to be no love there. And I got to tell you, if they're going to draw from the comics, that made for a very awkward situation. And now it's almost kind of like, ooh, if you Wanda, what do? Do you stay with this created perfect boo, but he's not real? Or do you go back to the old boo and he don't like you? I mean, yo, White Vision's gonna pull a Thanos and be like, I don't even know who you are. But man, let the Vision on Vision battle begin. Look, I'm about to give you a couple of my predictions for episode 9. And I'm going to just say this now. You know, I don't know if I'm right or not. I don't know. But if you don't want episode 9 to be ruined or whatever, now's the time to leave the video. But I'm going to give you a couple quick predictions on what I believe will happen moving on. Okay, so now you've been warned. It's your spoiler alert. So you good. Okay, cool. First of all, I do think that the next episode has to be at least like 50 minutes, maybe hopefully more than an hour. There is so much stuff for them to wrap up here. I would like to believe that they're not about to just give us some 30 minutes and like, you know, another 10 minutes of credits. Now, I do believe that we're about to have a magical battle royale. And I'm talking about like Vision versus Vision, you know, Wanda versus Agatha, the Pet Cemetery twins, and Monica versus Pietro. Oh, by the way, I don't trust, what was that? The rabbit, you know, scratch and sniff, whatever. I told y'all already, I don't trust them familiars with witches because they always be sneaky. They gonna be flying, breathing fire, or doing something weird. Like, don't trust the rabbit. And then, of course, I do believe that Doctor Strange is going to show up, probably late, after everything's already settled or whatever. But I do think that he is going to pull Wanda out of this. But look, I'm telling you, I feel like one way or another, whether it's Doctor Strange, maybe it's Wanda, maybe it's Agatha, somebody's going to have to do a major mind wipe of like just everybody, maybe all the people on Sword, on what happened. I mean, look, in the comics, Agatha did wipe Wanda's mind and made her forget about her children. And I gotta say, if they go that route, that's going to be real interesting moving forward because just imagine, the kids going to come out of the hex. Let's just say they're going to become real. They're going to join the Young Avengers. It's just going to be real awkward when we see, in future movies, Wanda meeting up with these kids and be like, oh, those kids look kind of cool. And they be like, hey, that lady looks familiar. And we going to be the only people like, awkward. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my video. Of course, I always appreciate it. What did you think about this episode? And what are you looking forward to in the next episode? Let me know any of your questions, theories, and comments down below. Please, 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 by the way, do not forget, Friday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is 8 p.m. Eastern Time. However you need to remind yourself, we are going to do the last WandaVision live reaction video. I cannot tell y'all how much I be missing y'all when y'all miss this stuff. We have such a great time together. I don't want you guys to miss it. Please, please, please find a way. Make it. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. Okay, on Friday. We're going to talk about this season finale. I'm sure there's going to be some more surprises. I know there's going to be some crazy stuff. We better meet Monica's friend, by the way, and I'm still putting my money that it's got to be Reed Richards. I'm going with Reed Richards. And it could also be Blue Marvel, and it could be Hank McCoy. I don't know, but we need to talk about it when it happens. So please, if you're new here and you like what you see, subscribe, hit the like button, share this channel and my video with some friends because sharing actually really helps my channel grow, and it does help support my channel. But look, I have got to go work on yet another video for y'all. And in the meantime, I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all. And until next time, I'll see you all later.